Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over some severe storms that are going to be heading through parts of the Tennessee Valley. The storms are going to be shifting from areas like Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas up through into parts of Tennessee, Kentucky, and even as far north as West Virginia, Ohio, and maybe even into parts of Indiana. We're going to be tracking this for you guys as well as giving you my personal forecast on how intense I think these storms will be. We're going to be showcasing a couple of maps that we've shown on previous videos, and we're going to be showing you extra maps that we made for today's video. So we have a lot to cover today, and I hope you guys do stick around all the way until the end because you'll be able to get all the information in this video. So here's what the current watches and warnings are currently, and we really don't have a lot going on except for in the western United States. The east is actually quite inactive. We have some hydraulic statements over parts of the Tennessee Valley, but other than that, we really have nothing else going on in the east. Some winter weather advisories back through some of the central Appalachias, as well as for parts of Nebraska, some flood watches, and a little bit of Kansas. They have some red flag warnings. For parts of the northwest, we have winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories, as well as some wind advisories and some high wind warnings in effect for parts of the northwest. We also have some high wind watches and wind advisories for southern California. And again, there's really nothing else going on in terms of watches and warnings. Your high temperature yesterday for the continental United States was in Zapata, Texas. They got to negative 30 or positive 93 degrees. Sorry that I'm getting mixed up with all the negatives and positives there. Your low temperature was in Peter Sinks, Utah. They got to negative 41 degrees. And your highest precipitation report or rainfall report was in, hopefully I say this right, Quillade, Washington, and hopefully again I did say that right. 0.88 inches of rain, and really no high snowfall reports yesterday. The highest one that I found was in Huron, Montana. They got to 6.7 inches of snowfall. Now here's what the Storm Prediction Center is showing for tomorrow. So this would be for Sunday. We're looking, or actually for Saturday into Sunday, we're looking at a general thunderstorm risk for many of these areas. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they put a marginal risk somewhere right within this area, somewhere over the Tennessee Valley. But as of right now, they only have a general risk out from the Storm Prediction Center for this entire area, from Delaware back through Texas and Louisiana. And then you can see that shifts a little bit further south as we get through Sunday into Monday morning. And the main reason for that is because this front, which is going to be stalling out over to the Tennessee Valley, is going to move a little bit further to the south on Sunday and into Monday. That's why that area shifted further south just a little bit. Now let's take a look at your simulated radar from the NAM 3CAM model, a high-resolution model, and then we'll shift over to some of the other models to see what they are showing for this event. We have some of the higher amounts of rainfall in those oranges, the yellows, the reds, even the purples and pinks that you're going to see pop up. So over some of these areas, for example, in Arkansas and western Tennessee, that's where you're dealing with the thunderstorm activity. And for this event, instead of what like we saw yesterday into early today, what we're going to be dealing with today, instead of these kind of pop-up thunderstorms, unorganized storms, it's more going to be somewhat of a line of organized thunderstorms that are going to be actually mostly west to east. So it's actually going to stall out over some of these areas, and that's going to bring some heavy rain over wherever actually gets stuck underneath that band of thunderstorms. And wherever that band of thunderstorms does move through is going to be the area that's going to have that big flooding concern. So this will be by Saturday night, so tomorrow night into early tomorrow or early Sunday evening. We're dealing with some of these thunderstorms moving all the way up as far north as southern Illinois, southern Missouri, back through Kentucky. This is definitely the furthest north the thunderstorms have gotten so far this year. We're going to see this continue to move further to the north. The actual reasoning behind this, so the reason this is moving to the north, is because we have a low pressure down here, but it's also being guided by another low pressure up in Wisconsin by this point. So both of these are interacting with each other. You can see that band of heavy rainfall back through West Virginia, Kentucky, and Indiana, and this would be for right around 3 a.m. Central Time, 4 a.m. Eastern Time on Sunday morning. As we continue this forward, you see more of those pop-up thunderstorms. So this first batch, which is right back here, is going to be, again, more unorganized systems. Here's where the line of storms starts to set up for Sunday into early on Monday morning. This is where we're going to start to actually see those the line of thunderstorms actually set up. So this would be by 10 in the morning Eastern time, 9 in the morning Central time. We're dealing with some moderate rain bands moving through parts of Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, and that's going to kind of strengthen into a line of storms. And you can see that we do have, again, that line of yellow and orange shadings back through West Virginia, Kentucky. It does turn into more unorganized storms back through Tennessee and Arkansas as we get a little bit more of a moist atmosphere. We're going to want to watch out for some of these little cells that kind of break off from the pack. That's going to be the thunderstorm the thunderstorm cells that actually end up becoming the bigger ones, the more dangerous ones, because they'll have more room to actually grow. So we want to watch some of these isolated thunderstorm cells that are away from the line of storms. That's going to be the ones that really start to develop quite a lot. Now we're going to start to see this really develop. We're going to have to switch over to a lower resolution model. We were just looking at the NAM3 cam. We're going to have to switch to the NAM12 cam because the NAM3 cam does not go far enough, unfortunately. We still see that band of heavy rain back through parts of Tennessee and Kentucky, as well as a few pop-up thunderstorms back through Mississippi, Arkansas, Texas, and that would eventually move into Louisiana as well. And then you see that area of lighter, moderate rainfall push further south by Monday morning, and then we're mainly dealing with broken up thunderstorms by that point. So here's the rainfall forecast from now through Monday. We're dealing with under an inch of rainfall for pretty much everywhere from the Mississippi River on the southern plains eastward. That's where we're looking at under an inch of rainfall, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall anywhere in this area from eastern Texas all the way up to parts of Maryland, Delaware, and southern New Jersey there. And this is where, again, I'm expecting over an inch of rainfall. This is where you actually start to get quite a bit of rainfall accumulation. Here would be that 2 to 3 inch area. This is where it's getting a little bit more dangerous. You could have some isolated flash flooding over some of these areas from Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, northeastward into West Virginia and Kentucky. And then we even have a 3 to 5 inch area from southern Arkansas, northern Mississippi, and southwestern Tennessee. This is from now through Monday, so including whatever shower activity is going to happen today, tomorrow, into Sunday, and even through the day on Monday. So this is over the next 4 or so days when we're dealing with the next 3 to 4 days with this rainfall forecast. So here are your expected high temperatures for Sunday, and this is also going to be a big factor into why we're going to be dealing with these thunderstorms rolling through and actually being quite severe. We have a lot of daytime heating, especially as you get back down through parts of the southeast and areas basically south of Tennessee and North Carolina. This is when it really starts to get warm over these areas. You can see in that kind of orange shade, which is right in here, that's where we're dealing with 80 plus degrees. In that yellow shade, that's where it's expected to be over 70 degrees, and usually you want to be at least 65 degrees to get some decent thunderstorms. You can get some decent thunderstorms under that temperature threshold, but usually you want it to be above 65 degrees at least during the day to heat up the atmosphere just enough to get some thunderstorms. And I think they might strengthen a little bit more, especially as they get further south, maybe into these regions. As you get a little bit more daytime heating, you get some warmer temperatures to roll through. Now here's the CAPE, and this is going to be very, very important. This is convective available potential energy. It's measured in joules per kilogram, and that's basically a way of measuring how much energy is in the atmosphere. You usually want to be at least above 500 and preferably over 1,000 to get some decent thunderstorms to roll through. And we actually do have a lot of energy, but it's just not in the right place. The real storms are going to occur right through here, where we're going to have some cold air and some warm air clashing. We're not going to have that happening over the southern and central plains where all that energy is. So the energy is further west of where all the thunderstorms are going to be, because the energy is just over a warmer area. It's over an area where there really isn't anything else to produce thunderstorms. So there won't be any thunderstorms of real significance back through here, even though the highest energy is over here, even though the most energy is back through there. So this would be by Saturday night into Sunday morning. Look, we even have some 1,000, 1,500, even 2,000 plus joules per kilogram amounts over some of these areas. So we definitely have a lot of energy, but it's not in the right place. You really would want that if you want a severe weather outbreak, which hopefully we don't get with this system. But you would want the most energy to be right in between where the cold air from the north and the warm air from the south are kind of going to clash. So that would be over the Tennessee Valley in this case. And you can see we mainly have amounts from mainly under 500 joules per kilogram. So nothing too severe in terms of the energy. And if we continue this forward, you do start to see that by Sunday night, when that line of thunderstorms is taking place, we do have maybe 300, 400, 500, even up to 600 in some areas joules per kilogram in terms of CAPE, but it's really not going to be too much or not enough to really produce anything that I would say is overly dangerous. So I think we won't really have too much in the way of hail, mostly a wind threat with this event, because when you do get those lines of storms to move through, you can sometimes get some straight line wind damage, and that can cause some real issues, bringing down trees. Any power lines could also go down, unfortunately, but hopefully that does not happen with this event. And then we see this area of more energy and higher energy shift further to the south through Monday morning as the entire system shifts further to the south. Now here's your trough, and it's located right back through here, and that's going to be what's fueling this. So we have very, very gusty winds in the upper parts of the atmosphere moving back through parts of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and then down through Montana. And then because of this trough back through here, you're actually getting air that's coming all the way back from the Pacific, and then jet stream, or kind of moving up through the jet stream all the way up into parts of the Central Plains, into the Northeast and the Great Lakes. And that's a very, very strong jet stream. But what we don't really see is too much wind shear in parts of the Tennessee Valley. So this will also weaken this a little bit. We do see divergence, however. So we have a wind that's kind of splitting off right over Arkansas and Tennessee, going in all different directions. That can help produce some thunderstorms. So we do have a decent amount of divergence in the atmosphere in terms of the wind direction, but we don't have too much in the way of wind shear. So really not a real threat with, I would say, hail or tornadoes. Mainly a wind threat with these areas. Here are your dew points, by the way, because this would be by Sunday night. We have very, very moist air over parts of the southeast and the Tennessee Valley in that general area. Usually you want to be above at least 55. Preferably it would be 60 or 65 degree dew points or higher, and you can see that 60-degree line is anywhere in that yellow, so that kind of cuts across parts of the Tennessee Valley back through into the southeast. And generally we do actually have some fairly moist air moving that far to the north in late February. Again, this is going to be the first day of March and the last couple of days of February, so we're barely into the springtime. We're not even into the springtime just yet, and we're already dealing with some of these severe outbreaks, or not really outbreaks, but severe storms moving through parts of the Tennessee Valley, parts of the southeast. And this is kind of a sign of what's to come with this severe weather season. Hopefully there's not too much severe weather this year. Now here's my expected thunderstorm risk with this event. I'm expecting a general risk, nothing too severe over these areas in the light green. So this is where you aren't expecting anything too major back through Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, and then all the way eastward to West Virginia and Western Virginia. And then we have that low risk for southern Kentucky, northern Tennessee. That's where we're going to have to watch. That could shift a little bit north or south depending on where the line of gusty, severe storms do set up. But as of right now, I'm going to keep it over that area. And then here's for Monday. So that was for Sunday. Here's what I'm expecting for Monday. And I'm expecting a general risk, which shifted a little bit further to the south from Texas up to Virginia and North Carolina by this point. And then that low risk on the lower part of the general risk, we have parts of northern Alabama, southern Tennessee, northern Mississippi, parts of Arkansas and Louisiana as well under that low risk of severe weather. So a little bit more of an elevated risk, although I still am not expecting too much in the way of severe weather out of this event. It doesn't look too impressive as of right now. I think we're still going to have to wait until probably at early March at the earliest, and maybe even into mid or a middle or later March to really get into some of those more bigger outbreaks with these severe weather events. So right now we're not expecting anything too severe out of this. just a heavy downpour or two over the Tennessee Valley and into parts of the interior southeast. And those areas are where you're really getting targeted with the severe storms this week. And it does look like that area will shift a little bit as we get into next week and as the pattern kind of changes just a little bit. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.